What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Connected to the Webb podcast. I have a very special guest today who is my youngest podcast guest ever, which I only have 13 episodes, so this is the 14th. So we'll be working on that. But we got some special reasons why I have her here today and some fun stuff. And I'm excited for you guys to hear about her story and what she's trying to accomplish and what she's done so far. So my past is a lot of the ways that I get guests to come on and say hi, people that I know that are business owners, friends of mine that are trying to do something in the community, as you've seen some other guests that are special to me. But this is a fun one. Madison, say hi to the camera for me.
Hi.
So, Madison, how old are you, hon?
I'm 17.
17. Okay. So, Madison is here because her mother and I go way back. We're friends from a long time, worked together for a long time. And I found out through Facebook's, the good part of social media, that you were on a mission to accomplish something. And I saw that and I reached out to your mom and said, hey, is there anything I can do to help? And this is the result of that conversation. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
First of all, how are you here today? Because it is school time. How'd you get here today?
I playing hooky. I didn't go to school today.
You mean you were sick?
Yes.
Oh, you're coming down with
right?
something. Yeah. But you know what? Sometimes in our careers, we got to do a little bit of that to make sure it works. So, well, I'm glad you're here. So let's start off with you. We're going to get into some exciting things, talk about why you're here and what you want to accomplish. But I think it's really important because you're a really special young lady to share and have the audience know kind of who you are. So why don't you tell us, you said you're 17, why don't you tell us where you go to school and what your career aspirations are?
So I am doing a dual enrollment program at a technical high school in Baltimore County. So I do a half day there, and then I do a half day at my home school.
Okay.
At my technical high school, I am in allied health, the allied health program there. So I'm earning, by the end of June, about then, I should have my CCMA certification, my CNA certification, and my certified pharmacy technician.
That sounds really fancy. What does that mean?
So CCMA is Certified Clinical Medical Assistant.
Okay.
CNA is Certified Nursing Assistant, and then Pharmacy Technician.
That seems broad, which gives you a lot of options. Is
Yes.
that kind of what you were thinking?
Yeah.
So you actually have two high schools then?
Yes.
Well, that's awesome. Well, how did that happen? So did you just decide you wanted to go into healthcare and then started seeing these ideas and then talked to mom about it and kind of rocked it? Or did something come up that were like, oh, that's a cool idea?
Well, in 8th grade is kind of when they start, telling you about high school and trying to prepare you for where you want to go and everything. And my technical high school was an option on there, and so I applied there, and I applied to a few other schools, and that was the one that I was accepted into.
Cool.
I didn't really know anything about it. I didn't really understand how it worked or anything until I actually got into it.
Yeah. Which is the way those things work sometimes.
And I didn't really have any aspirations for healthcare before then.
Okay.
Kind of person, I want to try everything. I mean, everything looks fun. I just want to try it all.
Yeah.
But, once I actually got into that program and started exploring it more and learning more is when I really found that I have a want and a need to jump into that industry.
So you kind of got lucky because you were trying to try a few things, but it turned out the first thing that you tried, you ended up having a passion for.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Switched my program once and then went back to allied health.
Okay. So allied health, is that a specific track inside of the program or is that a department?
So we have a few different program options there. I know we have diesel, culinary, baking and pastry, biomedical sciences. So, and then we have allied health. So
okay. Yeah. Okay, so it is kind of like a school, if you will, like the way colleges do it, like the School of Medicine or the School of Teaching or business school, things like that. Okay, so I was just trying to understand kind of how that went. So where are they? Are they both in Baltimore County?
Yes.
Okay, so they're close enough that mom and dad don't have to drive an hour and a half to get that.
Yeah,
That's good.
We have a bus that takes us back and forth.
Oh, okay, which makes sense because your school had it on their paperwork as an option.
Mm-hmm.
Is that called a magnet? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Cool. I thought that because we're in Harford County. You're in Baltimore County. We have a couple things like that. There's some farm schools way up in the middle of nowhere that have that kind of thing. So, well, that's pretty special. So, what drew you when you, as you admitted, you weren't 100% sure, you just wanted to try it. What was that moment where you're like, hey, this is really special. I think I might kind of really like this.
So I would have to say my freshman year, um, I got into the program, or I got into the school, and I kind of really wasn't feeling it based on what I've seen from the older,
Yeah.
classes and everything. I wasn't really feeling it. I wasn't sure if that was what I wanted to do.
Okay.
It's a lot of work.
I
It can
bet.
be very difficult, and I think at that time I wasn't, feeling very productive and feeling like I could do it.
You're also a freshman, so
Yeah.
like that's tough to make those big choices.
But, so I actually made the decision to go and try out for a different program, which was culinary. So I went there, I did the test, I did everything, and I got in, and then I changed my mind. So I decided to go back to allied health.
Okay. That's kind of neat. Um, my brother took a pathway like that in a culinary school, and he was, I think he was a sophomore, and he was like, I'm really in it deep. Do I really want to do this?
Mhm.
And I remember him kind of sharing that moment with me. This is a long time ago, and I'm kind of forgetting a little bit, but I remember him saying like, I'm having fun, but I just don't know if this is what I want to do. So that's so cool. I mean, how old are you as a freshman? Is that
14.
14? My gosh, like it's tough that you have to think about those big choices when you're that young. That's the hard part about high school. You got the whole social thing, which obviously is crazy, but yeah, trying to like blaze your path and figure out which way you're going to walk. And I just give you credit for going outside of the box. There are so many students and young people that because they don't know what they want to do, they stay still and they stay in their high school, which is fine. But they get out, it's almost too late. I feel like everything's starting earlier. So great job for doing that. And making that choice, even inside of the indecision that you say, where you're going to go to culinary then come back, the fact that you are making these choices, I think it's going to make it better for you in life, which is super cool. Um, okay, so let's talk about why you're here, and link us to you being allied health, and then this really interesting thing happening outside of the healthcare field that brought you in here today. Let's kind of go down that road a little bit. Okay, so you are in the allied health program. You're studying. You're doing the best job you can be to be an awesome student. And then where's the gap? Where's the link? So where's the link? Because you are here today to talk about the pageantry world and a competition that you're getting into, and we're going to go over that in a second. But connect me. So what were you doing? And beauty pageant concept idea. Where did that come up?
So actually, pageants have never been anything that I've ever considered. I mean, I I'm I like sports, I like reading, I like doing stuff like that. So pageants have never been
I
really.
remember you used to read so much when you were a little one. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear you're still reading. Sorry, keep going.
But yeah. So being in allied health and being in those programs, they definitely push you to keep your grades up, and you have to have a certain attendance
Good.
rate, certain GPA, and everything to maintain in order to stay in that program. So doing all that has really pushed me to try and succeed as far as I can in my
Good for
other
you.
classes.
Good for you.
Um, so all of that has allowed me to be accepted into a few honor societies.
Ooh, nice. You said a few, so more than one?
Yes.
Cool.
So I'm in National Technical Honor Society, one for social studies, English, and science right now.
Girl, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you are busting your butt.
I hope so. I hope I'm doing okay.
Yes. Well, you can't like mess up and get in the honor society,
Yeah.
so hopefully you understand how special that is.
Right.
Awesome. Okay, so you're in these honor societies, and then what? What happened?
So about a month or two ago in March,
Mhm.
I came home one day and there was a letter waiting for me in the mail from National American Miss, which is a pageantry sort of production kind of company.
Okay.
They really focus on the, I'm going to say, the more intellectual parts maybe
Okay.
of pageantry. So
What's on the inside?
yes.
Yeah.
Who you are as a person and not so much what you look like on the outside. They don't have a swimsuit competition or anything like that.
Okay.
And it told me that I was nominated to run for the Miss Maryland teen.
Miss Maryland Teen.
Yes.
Okay.
Title, Miss Maryland Teen, in their pageant in August. So from there, I kind of, was a little, I don't know. I know my family was a little sketched out first,
Sure.
a little bit.
So how'd you get nominated? Did they tell you how or who?
So they don't tell you exactly, but from what I've seen and heard from other sources, you can be nominated through National Honor Societies or through someone who's done the pageant before,
Okay.
or from a business or company or something. But I'm gonna assume that it was from National Honor Society.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's special. I've never received a piece of mail saying that I was invited to a pageantry of any kind. You might not guess that, but I didn't. So
Someday.
What was that like? Thank you. I still have goals. Thank you. So what was that like? I mean, not knowing all the details about the program yet, you opened a letter that said you were nominated for something that's pretty big. That's cool. Mm-hmm. But like when you opened that letter and you read it, you're like, huh, that's interesting. Like what went through your mind? Do you remember?
It was a little weird.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's not really my forte, I guess, pageantry. Yeah. So kind of seeing it was kind of like, do I really want to do this?
Right. Is this something that I'm even going to
should I take this
keep
up
reading?
And should I keep reading and keep researching, or should I put the letter aside or throw it away or something? But I did decide to go forward with it, and my family and I looked into the program, I guess, a little more. And it just seems like a really amazing company from everything that I've seen and read and heard.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what...
The fact that they focus on what's on the inside, I mean, that's probably a great start, right? Yeah. When I hear the word pageantry, it's hard for me not to go through a series of memories that I have of seeing things on TV or whatever. And listen, you're 17. I don't know how much you got exposed to it, but I think it might have been 10 years ago. There was a TV show about young girls getting into pageantry for the beauty side of it. I remember seeing that and just really being like taken back by, number one, it was a lot of work. Like the whole family had to get involved. But I was a little nervous that it was too much focus on the beauty part of it, which is so special. But when you said it was more about the intellectual side, I would find that interesting, as a parent, to be like, okay, maybe I'll put my guard down a little bit. Were you nervous at all, even having read that there was some like other side of it included?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's formal wear and stuff like that. You have to wear a big, long, fancy gown and everything. And it's exciting, but it's also like, is that really something that I can do? Yeah.
So I guess I'm trying to think as a parent, right? And you come to me and you're like, hey, got this letter, was nominated for this cool thing. It's a pageant. I'd be like, whoa. Who nominated you? What the heck? But then as we work through those together, at that point, I'd be like, okay, how much work does this take? So how did you figure out what a potential contestant has to go through? Is there a website? Did you talk to people about that? Was there a number to call? Like, how'd that work?
So they do have a website.
Okay.
One place that I kind of got a lot of my information from was TikTok.
Okay.
There's a girl I follow on there who kind of was in the same boat as me.
Okay. She went through it all.
Yeah, this time last year.
So she just did it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So she got pretty far in their state competition in Colorado, I think. So that was really, nice to get to know from someone who's in my situation.
Did you just kind of see her content, or did you reach out to her at all?
No, I just saw her content.
Okay, and you felt a little level of comfort, I guess, at that point, like, this is kind of real. Number one, and as a dad, I'd be like, is this real?
Yeah.
So you got a comfort level there. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. So you developed some research. You liked the things that you were seeing and said, okay, I mean, knowing your mom, and from what I've heard about you over the years, I imagine there was this moment inside of you being competitive to be like, challenge accepted. Look at your face. So, okay, so you're like, you know what? I can freaking do this. Okay, awesome. So talk to me about that. So there's a competitive side of you that said, this is something that I'm going to compete in, and I'm going to try to win this thing, right? So talk to me about that side. You did your research. You said, okay, I'm comfortable with the goals of the program and the pageant itself. When it clicked and you said, I'm going to do this, it was only a month or two ago, right? So tell me what was going on inside of your head at that point.
So it's a little scary because I don't know anything about that, but at the same time, I kind of feel like, I do want to try everything.
Yeah.
And I want to I just want to do everything. I want to try different things, and there's no reason for me not to.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can get there. I feel like I'm willing to put in the work and everything. So getting that letter in the mail kind of made me think, well, if I have this opportunity, it would be kind of dumb of me not to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that you know this, but our generation, the old people, we definitely notice that your generation, shall we say, not to be too specific, doesn't always have those ideas in their head. They're not like, I'm going to set this goal, I'm going to attack it, I'm going to work for it. Not that your generation is lazy, but there are a lot of people your age that, number one, they don't know what they want to do. Number two, they don't know what direction they're going to go in. But if they have those opportunities, they don't necessarily go for them. So I hope you know that that's very special. Like, regardless of what happens, not a cheesy dad line, but like, regardless of what happens, I know you're going to give everything you can to this, and the outcome is what it is. The fact that you're sitting here saying, I'm gonna do this, I think it makes you special. Hopefully you understand that makes you special.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I not a lot of young people, I think, would get that letter and go, you know what? I'm going to try this and I'm going to try to win. They'd be like, oh, that's really cool. Psh, trash. So I'm proud of you. That's super cool. Okay, so then you made the decision, right? You're like, okay, I'm going to do this. We already got past the research. You're starting to get competitive spirit. So at that point, what's the next step that you went through? Are you saying, okay, now I have to go through these steps, right? And on my pathway, what was the first thing you did after you made the decision, challenge accepted, I'm going to freaking rock this? Then what happens?
So they do an open call for every state.
Open call. Got it.
Open call is kind of just, it's an hour and a half kind of event at a hotel, kind of like a conference kind of thing.
Okay.
So we went and, you can take a notepad or whatever you want and get all the information that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of just a guideline for what the next.
You could ask questions?
Yes, you can ask questions and everything.
Was we being interviewed? Were they asking you questions?
No.
Not yet. Okay, got it.
But we did do a kind of like a mock interview at the end.
Okay.
So the open call is actually when they decide who's going to qualify as a state finalist.
Okay.
So that was kind of my tiny competition.
Okay.
So to say.
Were you waiting in line?
It was a short line. There weren't too many girls there.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Give me a number. How many were there at that hotel with their family or parents?
I would say about 20 girls.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Were you like eyeing the competition up? Like, I wonder who that is.
Not really, no.
Okay,
It was girls from 4 to 40 years old.
Oh, little 4-year-olds?
Yeah. It was really cute.
To 40?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Okay.
They have an elite age group. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a nice way of saying older. I've never been called elite because I'm 44. That's a fun one. I know your mom's watching. We're elite. I like that. That's fun. Who went with you for that open call?
My mom and my grandmother went with me.
Was that special?
Yes.
Cool. Get some good pictures?
Yes.
It's going to be cool one day.
But, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so you did the call. You asked questions. What kind of questions did you ask them?
I didn't really ask too many questions.
Okay.
I'm kind of going to sit back and take in everything that I can.
And you're a researcher too, so you probably answer a lot of your own questions. Okay. Did they, in the mock interview, how'd that go? Did you feel like, wow, that was kind of cool, or was it a little intimidating at all?
No, it wasn't intimidating, which is surprising to me because I feel like I'm a shy person. I don't really like to talk to people like that.
But you were there. You had a job to do, sister, right?
So when I sat down and I, shook her hand and said, hi, it's nice to meet you, how are you, whatever, I kept my eye contact, my posture felt great, so I really walked out of it feeling like that was really good. Like, I didn't think I could do that, but I did.
Oh my gosh, did you get a rush of like positive vibes? Like, wow, you said the words, I can do that. Mm-hmm. Oh man, that's super cool. So was the result of that a first qualifier per se? Like, was that a first round? So did you get a call afterwards?
So a couple weeks later, I got a letter in the mail.
Another letter.
Yes,
okay.
And I also got a text.
What did the letter say, generally speaking?
Something along the lines of, we're excited to say you qualify as a state finalist for the Miss Maryland competition. Yeah.
So did you get a little chills when you read that? Was it like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, awesome. Okay. And did it give you a date for the next round kind of thing?
So the next step from there was the pageant prep. which I actually went to last night. It was all the way up
Oh,
in
fresh.
Annapolis.
Okay.
Yeah. So there we kind of went over, our runway walk, our formal wear competition part, which is where you go on stage and you with your dress and you walk and you pose and whatever.
Oh yeah, that's what I would think of. Just having that sort of presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did we practiced personal introductions and just stuff like that, and just kind of got more information and everything. And yeah.
So last night you practiced a personal introduction.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to share that with us today?
So it was terrible.
Oh, Madison. Okay.
Yeah, but that's
define terrible. It felt awkward. Something you're gonna have to practice more.
Yeah.
Because I know as a competitor you're gonna practice your butt off. But so you realize you had a lot of opportunity at that point. Okay.
Yeah. I have a really bad habit of just having all this information and thoughts in my head and just word vomit everywhere.
Yeah.
I have a hard time keeping things simple and getting to the point. So that's something that I'm gonna have to practice a lot.
I think a lot of people share that. Mm-hmm. Okay. So did they tell you it has to be done in like 20 seconds, 30 seconds? Was that part of the deal? Like, hey, you want to keep it to this amount of time?
Yeah. So we have a 30-second
30 seconds. Okay.
time limit for a
That's kind of pressure itself, right? Like, are you clocking in your head? Is there something in front of you that you can see on the back side of the camera to tell you 30? Yeah, so that's kind of pressure, right? Like, first of all, how many sentences go into 30 seconds? You have pace, your verbal pace at that point. So, yeah, there's a lot of logistics there that I understand. It's cute you said terrible. Okay. So when you that's awesome. I that's a lot of pressure. Like I'm not shy at all, but if somebody says you have 30 seconds to say whatever, it just creates this, pressure vacuum. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with you to feel that pressure. So were you practicing this morning or at the home yet? Have you said like I got to keep doing this yet? It was Fred. This did it last night, right?
Yeah,
you said okay.
Yeah, I didn't get home until late last night.
Yeah.
And this morning I was a little busy, so.
Okay. So they want you to have the introduction. Tell me about the walk. How did that work? Did they give you ideas on like your feet, where to go? Like, I'm asking these questions as a complete naive person. I'm also a guy. But I remember seeing the walk and it seemed very purposeful. It did not seem like they were just casually walking. It seemed prepped. Were they giving you advice on that?
They were. So they taught us how to do our model stance and everything.
Model stance. Yes, got it. Okay. Were you surprised by any things they were saying, or did you kind of get it?
I kind of got it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like the stereotypes of pageantry, which is kind of what I expected going into it. But.
Good. Yeah, that's the part everybody knows. Some sort of presentation to the judges or the audience at that point, which could be a walk or something. Okay, so have you and Mom talked about a dress yet? Like, it's a big choice, right?
Yeah. So we're gonna need a few different outfits for it. Yeah. So our competition is divided into 4 categories.
4 categories.
Yeah,
Got it.
So first is community service.
Community service.
Which is 10% of our grade.
Okay.
Next is our formal wear competition, which is
formal wear.
30%.
30%. That's a third of it is formal wear. Got it. Got it. Okay.
And then the next is personal introduction.
Okay. The 30-second thing.
Yes, that's another 30, and then the last one is interview.
That's how they find out what's going on up here, right?
Yeah, and then that's another 30%.
Okay. So did they give you an indication last night of what kind of questions they would be, like generally speaking, or you didn't get that part yet?
Yeah, we got.
Because it's pre, you're prepping. That's called a prep, right? Okay.
Yeah, we got a short little list of some possible questions for the interview. The interview is a closed door kind of thing. So you go in. There are going to be anywhere from 5 to 10 judges, I think it said, and we get a minute with each one. So we have to cycle through.
So you said 5 or 10 judges. So that's a minute each, 10, 15 minutes, give or take, maybe 20 minutes depending. Like, that's a lot of interview time. Mm-hmm. So those questions, when you saw them, and I'm not going to ask you to repeat the questions, but were any of them surprising to you? Like, oh, wow, they're going to ask that? Or was it what you were expecting?
It was kind of what I was expecting, based on just what I've seen and everything, and the message and the goal of the company and everything. So,
okay, good. So you generally, that part of the prep, you were like, okay, this is kind of where I thought. Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. So what's next? So you had the prep last night. How long was that? You said you got home late.
Yeah,
How long was that?
It was about 2 hours.
Oh, okay. So what's next then? So now that you've had that prep, is there another practice with those folks?
No.
That was it?
Yeah, that was it. So
like, here's the nest, boop, fall out of it.
Yeah, so we're not gonna have anything to do with that until the actual pageant in August.
Oh my gosh. So are you like setting up a runway out back at this point to practice, or how are you practicing that space for your runway portion?
I should.
Mom's listening, so we can find someone to maybe make a little runway. That would be appropriate though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just talking out loud, how long was the runway? Did they tell you? Was it 50 feet? Did they say that?
They don't really tell you, but we just kind of practice in the room or the conference area.
When you were doing your walk, were they teaching you to pace your walk so that you got to it at a certain time? I'm sure they don't want you to run, right? Yeah. I don't want you to crawl like a snail. So in the middle there, were they like, hey, keep a good pace kind of thing? Did that kind of come up?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Make sure you're soft.
So when your runway's built out back, you'll be able to pace yourself that way. Yeah. Okay, hint, nudge, nudge. For those of you who don't know, the mom is behind the camera. She's dual mom and camera person this morning. So that's why I keep looking over there and making small jokes. Okay. All right, well, I just learned so much because I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but I will be honest that in my head, before you got here, I was running over my head the movie Miss Congeniality. Have you ever seen that with Sandra Bullock?
But I've heard of it.
Yes. In that, she was not a pageantry person. She was actually a cop, but she had to learn everything quick. So they brought somebody in, an expert, to teach her these things. She ended up falling in love with the business and the girls there. It was a pretty cool story. It's actually a fun movie, even as a dad and a guy. Like, it's not Star Wars, but it's fun. But I remember in that moment where she's like, this is freaking hard. Like, how do they do this? And I kind of like got that respect that they were trying to get that point across in the movie. And as we're chatting in my head, I'm getting these image of Sandra Bullock like being frustrated, trying to learn all this really quickly. But you're kind of doing that because 2 hours last night, competition in August, that gap of time is your prep time. That's you. That's Madison time. You better figure it out. My gosh, that's pretty cool. Okay, so let's talk about now, today, till we get to the competition. Let's talk about that for a second. All right, so something just occurred to me that I think would be really important if we talk about. We talked about how you were like challenge accepted and you were trying to go through this like process of, okay, I got this letter. It's kind of interesting. You know what? I can freaking do this. But let's back up real quick, if you don't mind. What goes on in your head to say why you might accept this opportunity, right? So you told me that we did. We talked about what? You made a decision and you're going to do it. But we didn't talk about the why. So why do this? It's a very big commitment. It's going to be a lot of your time, a lot of your energy. We'll talk about potentially finances in a second. But my question to you, young lady, is why? What motivates you to enter a competition like this?
Well, getting the letter first in the mail and reading it definitely started kind of fire, I guess, in my stomach.
Oh, I love that.
It was sort of like, this is such a great opportunity, reading all of the benefits and everything that there is and whatever. I was like, that's great. I want to try that. I want to do that. Even if I don't win, there's so many different opportunities to gain just from trying it. So many skills that I can learn just from trying it. And thinking about that and having that feeling in my heart and my stomach and my gut and whatever kind of made me step back and think for a second and have this little thing that's in the back of my head, like
a voice.
Yeah, like, well, I just got this letter in the mail. I feel like I'm doing great in school. I have a roof over my head. I'm in sports. I have all these great things going on in my life right now.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think about all the other girls that are in my position who don't have that opportunity, who don't, they don't have the same
letter.
They don't have a letter, they don't have a roof over their head, but they have the same dreams as me, they have the same goals as me, they have the same drive as I do, and it just kind of hurts to think that I get to go and do this and have fun and whatever, and I have the resources, but look at the girls who don't, you know.
That's a whole nother level because you're transitioning at that point from an individual accepting something being brought into their life through a letter, right? A nomination, I guess, is the most appropriate way to say it. You were nominated. But what you're describing is you representing a community, representing an age group, more importantly, girls your age that don't have this opportunity. Madison, that's a whole nother level. Like, I just want to say this again, and I hope it doesn't come off too dad-ish, but well, it is what it is. But that's so special that this is the idea that came up in your head. Like, wow, this is an amazing opportunity. At the same time, you're like challenge accepted, because you're competitive and you're. But when you realize that the opportunity could be something bigger than yourself, I'm just telling you, young lady, not everybody thinks like that. That makes you real special. And obviously, as Madison, you're one of one, as you guys say now. I know you've heard that before, but you're one of one. But in this conversation, you are part of something so big. And that's what I learned doing some research before you came is that there is a whole community of women that are representing another community of women. And I think that's special. Um, do you see yourself representing a group such as young ladies around the country or even in your county or state to try to have that community lift you up and represent them? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't, I mean, I have a roof over my head and I have food on the table and that's what matters, but I also don't come from a super expensive area or
Mm-hmm.
super bougie neighborhood or whatever.
Love that word bougie. Yeah. I know all about that.
There's a lot of people that I go to school with who I have no idea what their living situations are like. And, it's hard to think about that. You're going to school with these people and you don't even, they could be sleeping on nothing. They could be sleeping on the floor at home. But that's just kind of what I try to keep in the back of my mind.
So let's fast forward for a second. Let's say, this is called manifesting. Let's say you do win this thing. And I know there's another level of the competition. Let's say you win it all, girl. Okay? Do you realize that there's a young girl who isn't a young woman yet? She's going to look up and see, I go to school with that girl. I live in the county. Wait a minute. I'm from Maryland, right? And they're going to look at you potentially and say, I want to be like her. When you think about that, I just saw you smile. Like, that's crazy. Little girls might look up to you and say, I want to be like her. Like, that's special. There's no little boys looking at me saying they want to be like me, except the ones that live in this house. And God bless it. You never know, right? I'm a coach. I'm a football coach. So, yes, there's been some awesome conversations. But we're talking about a platform. You have a platform to potentially represent a community and then become a role model. That's kind of what I was getting at. That's so special. And it seems like you understand that gravity and you have what is very rare in your generation, reverence. Reverence is a tough word to understand, but you have reverence for the fact that you are about to become something so much different than a member of the community. You're going to start representing that community. That's the kind of thing that goes on in your head right now. You are so special. That is so awesome. So inside of this amazing moment that you just gave me, I do want to kind of bring it back to reality because it takes a lot to do this, what you're telling me, right? Your time commitment with 2 high schools and studies, you have a family, you have things in your life that are happening, sports, right? This is a lot of time you're going to have to carve out. That's going to be a commitment. Obviously, you're going to have to grow purposefully to be able to become the competitor you want to be. So you're going to commit goals and mentally to this. But again, I just said I'm part of sports organizations and my sons are in travel lacrosse. There's another side of commitment that is tough, and that's financial. So if you'd allow me, I kind of just want to talk about that just because I don't understand. I'd love to share it with anybody who's listening about that financial commitment. Are you cool with that? Yeah. Okay, awesome. Okay, so there's another commitment like we're talking about, right? So my children play travel lacrosse, and the big difference from rec lacrosse to travel is that there's a financial component of it. And these kids are asked to provide a lot of money, sometimes in the thousands per kid. And there are things that they go to. No one like makes money off of it. There's expenses that they're needed. And that's tough on a family because
Yeah.
not every family has that money laying around. In the pageantry world, is there a version of a financial commitment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So without knowing anything about it, because you're going to tell me right now, I'd imagine it's not tiny. Okay. All right. So what kinds of things does a pageantry contestant need money for?
So I guess the broader aspect of pageantry, obviously you're gonna need money for your wardrobe, your outfits,
Mhm.
entry fees.
Wait, you're not just going to pull stuff out of your closet and wear it?
I mean, I would hope. I wish I could.
Yeah. That was cute. Okay. So you probably don't have the correct wardrobe. Any contestant does probably not have that wardrobe sitting in their closet. Okay. So that makes sense. Wardrobe. Got it. Keep going.
Um, Travel costs are a huge one. The pageant that I'm going to for the title of Miss Maryland Teen is all the way in Reston, Virginia.
Okay.
Um,
Which for us, you can drive there,
Yeah.
but you got hotels?
Hotels are another thing. It's a 3-day pageant.
Mom's not driving 3 times in a row. I know your mom. She shouldn't anyway, because you don't want to have to worry about that. You have to get ready and okay, so those travel expenses are legit.
Yeah.
Okay. And for some girls, they might not want to stay in hotels. Some families not be able to do it, but that is a commitment. Okay, awesome. Keep going.
So that all is a part of the state pageant. For the few that do make it past their state pageant, that leads into the national competition.
Oh yeah, which is not going to be in driving distance.
No, that's all the way in Orlando, Florida.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, could be a drive for us, but at that point, freaking gas is an expense. Okay, got it. And that's a burden on a family. Look, I mean, it's no secret. Things are tough right now. You know, gas is high. It costs a lot of money. So for a family to just straight up freaking drive, well, it's basically a vacation because you're going to go down there and get a hotel and gas, even if you fly or whatever, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got wardrobe, we've got travel, which can be absolutely crazy. I'm sure Orlando's not cheap either. If you make it, like you said, that was very sweet. You said the few girls who make it. I like that, which will be one of you. I know you'll be one of them. What else? What do we got? What else?
Entry fees. Entry fees are a huge part.
Okay.
Of pageant.
I didn't know there were entry fees, but now that makes sense because just comparing it to sports, that's part of it. Okay.
So for the state pageant, it is a $650 sponsorship fee.
Okay.
Just to participate.
Oh.
So if you add that on top of travel costs, wardrobe, hotels, all of that stuff, it gets pretty expensive.
That's not hundreds.
No.
That's in the thousands.
Thousands, yeah.
And I just know that most families don't have that laying around.
No.
Okay. Any other categories? So we've got entry fees, travel, wardrobe. What else am I missing? Those are the big four?
Yeah. Those are the big ones. Optional contests are also,
like smaller ones that are they regional or?
They are. So those are for the state pageant. They don't.
Okay. Inside of
Yeah. They're completely optional. You don't have to do that.
But they're practice, right?
Yeah. Those all come before the big thing. Big pageant. But those are really great. One that I am really interested in doing, if I have the resources to do it, is spokesmodel. Which you prepare. I think it's a 2-minute speech on stage on a topic of your choice, and I feel like that would be a great thing to try out. I'm not good at public speaking at all, so
yeah, 2 minutes is a lot.
Yeah.
And like we talked about before, just the pressure of only having 2 minutes. So I would imagine those are great practice in your sport too, right? Again, not to beat this over the head, but any other sport as a competition, there are going to be qualifying rounds, but there's also going to be other tournaments, right? USA is hosting FIFA for the first time I don't even know ever, but there are other tournaments that are leading up to that I know are being held somewhere else. So that, as you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So that's a big commitment. And just off the cuff, I'm going to go ahead and say I would imagine most of those families, like I said a second ago, don't have that money laying around. So are you comfortable talking about how you tap into those resources?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, let's do that next. Okay, so what types have what types of fundraising have you done so far for this huge commitment that we're talking about with these 4 different areas that are going to be expenses for you guys?
So really, the only thing that I've done as far as raising money for myself to go forward with the pageant is sharing my story and sharing all my information through Facebook, family
Mm-hmm.
and friends and things like that. Also, my one of a good family friend of ours was kind enough to make a gift basket, kind
Oh,
of
cool.
little self care stuff for me to raffle off. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Raffles are a great idea
yeah.
because
So
everybody wins.
mhm, yeah, so that's been that's been about it as far as fundraising for the pageant stuff.
Does it feel awkward kind of asking for help?
Yeah, it's weird to go on Facebook and say everybody
Yeah.
this and that, but also here's my cash app. Please give me money.
Yeah. So because of this cause, I don't think you should feel bad, right? It's weird. There aren't any natural scenarios in a young woman's life where you just straight up ask for money. And don't look at it like that, right? Because you're not asking for money to go spend frivolously. Remember your why,
Mm.
right? And you want to do what with this platform? What do you want to do with this platform?
I want to take it as far as I can, and I want it to reach as many people as I can. And as far as helping comes, I mean,
Yeah.
I've done charity stuff in the past. I've done canned food drives for churches and things like that. I've done packaging food for Haiti. Uh, that was a while ago. I did that through my church. When I was little, I did. I raised money by myself. I made these little puzzles out of paper.
Yeah.
For fun.
I remember that.
Yeah,
They were awesome.
I sold them to the people in my neighborhood just to make a few bucks. And with the money that I raised from that, my mom was able to set me up with some of the Baltimore County police officers. And they actually took me shopping for Christmas, and we bought gifts and things for, I think it was 4 families for Christmas that year.
Oh my gosh,
Mhm.
because the kids didn't have money for Christmas.
Mhm.
Okay, so you've already done this, right? And it's a great cause. Don't forget, Madison, that the reason you're here is to share another great cause. And the people watching today are saying this is a wonderful young lady who has an opportunity to take this competition to a platform level and represent your community, represent Baltimore for everybody else. For us, it's Baltimore, and represent the state of Maryland in the Miss Teen pageant. And these little girls are going to look up to you and see that if you work hard and you have something in between the ears, that you can have a special opportunity like this. So I think there's the magic for you, sweetheart. So you are not asking for money like a beggar. You're simply saying you want some support for this journey and you'd love some help because mom and dad can't do it by yourselves. Mom can't do it by herself. It's impossible. We couldn't do it. Every sports team fundraises, and you're just fundraising as well. So don't feel guilty about that. There's nothing wrong with that. And in those moments, people are going to say, okay, I am kind of feeling like I would do some donation and charity, but let's look into the camera for a second. Don't look at me and tell somebody why it's important that you receive help and resources to be on this journey. Why is it going to be special for you? Go ahead and tell the audience.
It's going to be special for me because it's going to allow me to take my platform further. Um, and, everybody wants to win. That's,
I
huge
love
thing.
that. You want to win.
Yeah, I want to win, but also, having this opportunity means that I'm going to meet a lot of new people. I'm going to learn a lot of new skills, and being able to take all of that and, combine it with this dream, this idea that I have in my head with reaching all of these people and, giving support to the same community that supports me is really important to me. And I just want to be able to do that. I want to reach as many people as I can.
So you've done a lot of stuff in your past because you're a good person. You come from a great family. Your mother's an amazing lady. You've given back to the community. You're just asking for a little help to get out there and represent the community. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's awesome. Well, I'm going to do everything I can to help you. I am so excited that you're here. You're growing into an amazing young lady. I remember you used to come in our office and you were just reading and reading and reading. And you had a little sass, but every little girl at 6 or 7 does. But I could see that passion that you had. And your mom always talking about it. She's flying through all these books and she can't keep up with your habits. And that turned into the young lady that got nominated for being in all these honor societies. And you're sitting here today talking about a beauty pageant that has a huge intellectual component and you're asking for sponsors. My Lord, you have grown up, young lady. This is so cool. Anybody that wants to give this young lady a little boost, whether it is to combine with the charities, everybody benefits, or if you just have an inspiration to help this young lady, I'm going to put some information in the description of the video of the podcast episode to reach you directly. Are you okay putting your socials on there so they can kind of see your journey?
Yeah.
Because I want to see how things are going and give us updates on everything. Um, Maybe a year from now, we have you back on and you're already representing Maryland, and now we're pushing to Florida.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Awesome. Well, anything you need, let me know. I'd love to try to help out. Guys, thank you so much for listening today. This beautiful young lady, inside and out, is just asking the community that she was raised in, born in, have a part of, who she's helped give back to, just for a little help her way. And I'm super excited to have you here today and ask those questions. And don't feel bad. So please help her on her journey. More importantly, watch her journey through the socials and helping her. You might get some more followers, maybe. I don't have 1 million subscribers. We're getting there. I think today it's 77. We're getting there. But more importantly, we'll put it on Facebook and stuff to see if we can watch you rise to your platform you want to get to. So I think you're going to be amazing, Madison. So good luck to you. And Mom, thank you so much for bringing her here. And you're so proud of your little baby. She's all grown up. Oh my goodness. Awesome. Hey guys, thank you so much. So everybody who comes on the channel, my last name is Webb. You know that, with 2 B's. I say you are now connected to the Webb with 2 B's. So I'm going to try to connect you to my Webb and see if you can benefit from that with support any way they can offer it.
Thank
awesome.
You so much.
Thank you, young lady. Good luck.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys. I'll see you soon. Appreciate your time and have a wonderful afternoon.